So this year, as we all know, there's been some very abnormally high temperatures. So everybody's been feeling the heat, and the sea has also been experiencing some very, very abnormal high temperatures. It's a marine heat wave that's been affecting the whole of the Caribbean. And the amount of heating that's happened is probably the greatest since 2010. In fact, it's going to probably be more than that soon. And the problem with this marine heat wave is that the corals particularly are really struggling. And we're seeing the beginning of what could be a major coral bleaching event. And I've been filming for the last week around St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and very upsetting to see so many corals really struggling, really being affected by the heat. And some species of coral that are very rare that we're working with in particular look really in trouble. So this is really a kind of reminder, a visual alarm call really, that climate change is with us right now. It's happening, and that if we don't prevent it from getting any worse globally, this is a global problem, we will see some radical changes in our marine environment. And in the Caribbean there's about 60 different species of coral which grow and create these amazing structures which provide shelter for fish and lobsters and an enormous number of species that live on coral reefs. So they are incredibly valuable ecosystems for the Caribbean. They're valuable for tourism, they're valuable for fisheries because they provide incredible habitat for juvenile fish and adult fish, and of course they protect the shoreline. So if you have a big storm, it's often the coral reefs that will absorb the wave energy and protect the shore from erosion or damage. So in terms of the value, they are by far the most valuable ecosystem on the planet. There have been studies looking at how valuable they are, and the average is around $300,000 per hectare per year. The reefs could disappear within even my lifetime or our children's lifetime. This is what many scientists are saying. So it's really critical that we protect them. And I'm not talking about it just purely because I'm a marine biologist and I love these ecosystems, but from an economic point of view. If islands lose their coral reefs, they'll lose the sand on their beaches. The white sand that you see on many beaches is produced by coral reefs, not the black sand, which is from volcanic ash, which I also like, but many people prefer white sand. So white sand comes from reefs. Obviously diving on reefs is very valuable, snorkeling, the tours you have in the Tobago Keys or around the coastline. It's the reefs that provide the value. It's what people have come to see. So that would be very, very damaging to the tourism industry. Fisheries also would suffer terribly. And as I said, also coastal protection would be affected. So the shoreline would be much more vulnerable to sea level rise and to storms. One of the things that we can do to help coral reefs is to reduce any stresses. So if there's pollution, we need to get rid of pollution. If there's overfishing, we need to manage that so there's not overfishing. We need to basically, first of all, reduce any impacts on coral reefs that can cause them to be pushed over the edge, so to speak. So climate change is going to make their survival much harder because of the high temperatures. So we want to reduce the other stresses that we can manage. Like, as I said, like pollution from the land, from sewage. Yachts sometimes pollute as well. So we need to really try and minimize the amount of pollution. And fishing, we need to protect parrotfish, which are really important for keeping reefs clean. They eat the algae. They're very important for the health of coral reefs. But in addition to that, we can also start restoration programs. So we can start building nurseries and propagating corals that are more resilient. And this is what I've been doing with partners in the Eastern Caribbean for the last few years. And there's a lot of international donors interested in helping in this area of restoring coral populations with more resilient genotypes, it's called. We try to find the families of coral that are more able to adapt to higher temperatures.